Friends, welcome back to the Survival Brief, your command center for navigating the gathering storms and forging an unshakable resolve. Here, we delve into the hard truths, not to ignite panic, but to illuminate pathways to profound resilience. Today, we confront a paradox at the very heart of survival, the idea that your greatest defense might not be the strength of your walls, but your ability to make those walls vanish entirely. Think about it. When the world outside shifts on its axis, when the fabric of society begins to fray and the sirens echo with increasing frequency, our primal instinct is to fortify, to build an impenetrable fortress. But what if that very fortress, visible and imposing, transforms your sanctuary into a beacon for those who seek to take what you've painstakingly prepared? What if the overt display of your readiness becomes the precise reason you become a target? The harsh reality is that not everyone can transform their suburban abode into a hardened bunker, nor should they, because in a genuine societal breakdown, sheer brute force is often a losing game, a direct confrontation you'd rather avoid. There's a far more potent strategy, one that costs little yet offers an unparalleled layer of protection: the gray home. It's the art of quiet strength, of strategic invisibility, designed to make your home and everything within it simply disappear from the map of potential threats. It's about hiding in plain sight, ensuring that long before anyone even contemplates breaching your defenses, they've already decided you're not worth the effort. Most folks overlook this subtle power. They focus on the seen, the tangible, the intimidating. But for those who master the principles of the gray home, they become almost untouchable when society's fragile order begins to unravel. Because the danger isn't always someone kicking down your door. It often starts far, far earlier, with the calculated decision of whether your home is even worth the risk. In this critical briefing, we're going to dissect the very essence of the gray home. We'll uncover the psychological levers that drive target selection, revealing how you can subtly manipulate perception without ever sacrificing an inch of your actual security. We'll explore precisely how to build these passive layers of defense, shining a light on common mistakes that make you stand out and offering actionable strategies to correct them. Most importantly, we'll equip you with the strategic mindset to integrate these principles deeply into your existing preparedness plans, transforming your vulnerability into an invisible strength. This isn't about elaborate deception or living in constant fear. It's about understanding the deep currents of human behavior in crisis, both yours and theirs, and harnessing that knowledge to secure your peace of mind and your family's future. It's about choosing an understated existence, building capability with intent, and ensuring that when chaos descends, you remain precisely where you need to be, quietly, profoundly, and strategically invisible. The psychology of invisibility, why blending in is your strongest shield. The core idea behind the gray home is beautifully simple: to disappear into the background. It's built on a fundamental psychological truth. Criminals, opportunists, and desperate individuals in a crisis rarely act randomly. They observe, they calculate, they choose what looks worth the risk. Your primary goal, therefore, isn't just to make your home stronger, it's to make it less interesting. Think about how threats evaluate their environment. Whether it's a petty thief casing a neighborhood or a desperate group seeking resources in a systemic collapse, they're looking for signals. They're weighing the perceived value of what might be inside against the perceived difficulty of acquiring it. They assess risk versus reward, even if subconsciously. A house that screams fortress with overt security measures can ironically backfire. Those flashy alarm company signs, the prominent, high-end cameras, the imposing fences, they might feel like a deterrence, but in reality, they often communicate the opposite. There's something incredibly valuable inside worth protecting. They invite a test, a challenge, a confirmation of the perceived high reward. This is a paradox many people resist. Strength doesn't always need to be visible to be real. In fact, the more invisible your strength, the more effective it becomes. Conversely, a house that blends seamlessly into its surroundings, one that doesn't display obvious signs of wealth, preparedness, or scarcity, becomes the path of least interest. If you're not interesting, you're usually not a target. This isn't about neglect or allowing your home to fall into disrepair. A low profile doesn't mean abandonment. It means neutrality. It means maintaining an appearance that is utterly unremarkable enough to be easily overlooked. This mindset extends beyond just your property lines. It shapes your entire interaction with the world. It influences what you discuss online, what you share with neighbors, and even the type of vehicle you drive. Every piece of information you reveal, every signal you inadvertently send, builds a picture. And the less complete, the less interesting that picture is, the safer you are. Consider your neighbors. Are you the one with the meticulously manicured lawn and the expensive, visible tools? Or are you the one whose yard is neat but unassuming, with tools stored discreetly out of sight? These subtle differences in perceived wealth or capability can be the difference between being ignored and being targeted. In a real collapse, perception is often more decisive than reality. People don't raid every home. They make calculations, even if subconsciously. They look for patterns, weigh risks, and decide where their effort is worth the reward. If you can skillfully shape that perception, if you can make your home look like the least promising option on the street, you shift that calculation before it even begins. This is the essence of the gray man approach applied to your home, anticipating how a potential threat evaluates its environment and acting to lower your profile at every stage.
Mastering the art of subtlety, exterior and interior strategies. So, how do we translate this philosophy of invisibility into actionable strategies for your home? It's about deploying what we call passive layers of defense, measures that are effective without being overtly noticeable. This isn't about replacing robust physical defenses, but about integrating them so seamlessly that they contribute to an overall message of nothing to see here. Let's start with the exterior. Exterior camouflage and maintenance. Your goal is to blend, not to stand out. Choose exterior colors that are common in your neighborhood and that recede into the landscape. Maintain your property to a reasonable standard. A mowed lawn, trimmed hedges, no peeling paint. But avoid excessive manicured precision that screams wealth or someone spends a lot of time and money here. Overly flashy signs, branded alarm company stickers, or visible high-end cameras, while intended as deterrents, can ironically communicate that there's something inside worth protecting. Often, they communicate the opposite of what you intend, signaling an interior value that an attacker might find enticing. Instead, opt for smaller, discrete camera models mounted under eaves or disguised as fixtures. Keep the lawn trimmed, the facade maintained, the windows clean, but without that manicured precision that signals overt wealth or a frantic effort to protect. Your appearance should be lived in, yet ordinary. Lighting strategy. This is a delicate balance. Too much illumination can draw eyes to your property, implying you're protecting something valuable. Think of a brightly lit home on a dark street. It's a beacon. But too little light, making your home appear empty or abandoned, can also be an invitation. The smart play is a balanced, natural lighting pattern. Soft exterior lights that illuminate pathways without broadcasting your entire property. Occasional indoor glow visible from the street, and no dramatic spotlights. Blackout curtains, layered fabrics, and double barriers on windows are crucial during a blackout. keeping that telltale glow of internal light contained. They are your secret weapon against the light signature that betrays your presence. Waste management and deliveries. Your trash can tell a story. Designer packaging, high-end appliance boxes left curbside, or consistent patterns of luxury food waste all signal affluence. Manage your waste discreetly. Break down boxes, dispose of high-value packaging away from your home, or alter your trash habits to avoid revealing consistent routines. Similarly, large delivery boxes left by the door are a clear indicator of recent purchases and potentially valuable ones. Arrange for secure pickup points, use lockers, or designate secondary delivery addresses to break up the trail of purchases leading directly to your home. Each of these tiny steps builds confusion for anyone trying to map your activity. Now let's move to the interior discipline. Window and visibility control. Anything visible from the outside becomes part of your home's narrative. Keep valuable items, tech equipment, or even well-stocked shelves out of sight. Remember that even a thin beam of light leaking from a curtain can reveal movement, warmth, and life in an otherwise empty street. Your window treatments should be effective but blend in. Window security film adds significant resistance against break-ins, shattering glass into a spiderweb pattern instead of flying shards, but remains completely invisible from the outside. It's a silent guardian. Containment and strategic storage. This is the heart of internal OPSEC. Keep stored water, food, fuel, and vital supplies not just hidden, but strategically contained. Store them away from windows or any direct line of sight a passerby might have. Concealed compartments, false walls, or even subtle modifications to furniture can create secure, unseen storage. For example, a hidden safe behind a movable painting, or a reinforced pantry door that looks completely ordinary from the outside. These measures mean that even if someone gets close, they won't immediately realize the extent of your preparations. Noise and scent discipline. In a crisis, silence and scent are powerful giveaways. The hum of a generator audible from down the block is an invitation to investigate, especially when most of the neighborhood is dark and silent. Use soundproofing enclosures, place equipment behind existing structures, and limit operating hours to when ambient noise is higher. Similarly, the scent of cooking food in a hungry neighborhood travels farther than most people realize, announcing not just presence, but abundance. Opt for sealed cooking methods, well-placed exhaust vents, and controlled ventilation to keep those signals under the radar. Routine unpredictability. Even if your home looks discreet, predictable routines can betray you. Alternating which entrance you use, shifting your usual departure times by a few minutes, or varying your daily routes can add layers of confusion for anyone watching. Smart plugs and geofencing can simulate presence automatically, turning on music or lights when you're not home. Time sprinklers, shifting trash bin positions, or subtle changes to exterior details all help create the illusion of activity. Each of these steps builds towards the same objective, a home that appears empty of resources even when it's fully stocked. That illusion isn't just cosmetic, it's strategic, because if someone believes you have nothing worth taking, they'll keep walking. And if they keep walking, you stay off their list.
Beyond survival, the ultimate goal of strategic preparedness. The truth is, strength can stop an attack, but invisibility can prevent one from ever happening. And in an increasingly unstable world, prevention is often the most powerful form of defense you can have. Think about it this way. Every physical barrier, every layer of steel or concrete is built to resist force that's already at your door. But a home that draws no attention, that inspires no intent, never has to resist anything at all. That's the paradox most people miss. Survival isn't always about being stronger than the threat. Sometimes it's about never being chosen by the threat in the first place. This philosophy, the gray man mindset, is about embracing understatement as a form of control. You are not weaker because no one notices you. You are safer because they underestimate you. And when threats underestimate you, they pass you by. That's the point where invisibility stops being a mere tactic and becomes a shield. One built not from steel or concrete, but from the choices you make every single day. Once you truly understand that, the final step becomes clear. How you think determines whether you're a target or just another shadow in the chaos. This means walking around your property with the eyes of an outsider, asking what draws attention, what might signal value, what could hint at resources, and then removing or disguising those signals until nothing stands out. It also means accepting a paradox that many people resist. Strength doesn't always need to be visible to be real. In fact, the more invisible your strength, the more effective it becomes. A house that advertises its defenses can invite a test. A house that appears irrelevant rarely gets noticed. The truth is, society's fabric can fray, economies can collapse, and law enforcement can falter. But the psychology of predation rarely changes. Attackers look for opportunity. Remove the opportunity, and you remove yourself from their plans. That's why mastering invisibility isn't just about safety, it's about control. It's about taking an active role in shaping how the world perceives you and turning that perception into one of the most reliable shields you'll ever build. The question isn't whether you can afford to build a fortress. It's whether you can afford not to disappear. That's a question worth answering before the sirens ever sound. Now, we want to hear from you. What's the first thing you would change today to make your home less visible? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join us as we keep building smarter, safer strategies here on the Survival Brief. Remember, preparation isn't panic, it's power. Comment your plan and subscribe to the Survival Brief for weekly briefings.